I shall have power to construct dams, reservoirs, powerhouses, power structures, transmission lines, navigation projects, and incidental works in the Tennessee River and its tributaries, and to unite the various power installations into one or more systems by transmission lines. Section 5. The Board is hereby authorized: A. To contract with commercial producers for the production of such fertilizers or fertilizer materials as may be needed in the government's program of development and introduction in excess of that produced by government plants. Such contracts may provide either for outright purchase of materials by the Board, or only for the payment of carrying charges on special materials manufactured at the Board's request for its program. B. To arrange with farmers and farm organizations for large-scale practical use of the new forms of fertilizers under conditions permitting an accurate measure of the economic return they produce. C. To cooperate with national, state, district, or county experimental stations or demonstration farms for the use of new forms of fertilizer or fertilizer practices during the initial or experimental period of their introduction. D. The Board, in order to improve and cheapen the production of fertilizer, is authorized to manufacture and sell fixed nitrogen, fertilizer, and fertilizer ingredients at Muscle Shoals by the employment of existing facilities, by modernizing existing plants, or by any other process or processes that in its judgment shall appear wise and profitable for the fixation of atmospheric nitrogen, or the cheapening of the production of fertilizer. E. Under the authority of this Act, the Board may make donations or sales of the product of the plant or plants operated by it to be fairly and equitably distributed through the agency of county demonstration agents, agricultural colleges, or otherwise, as the Board may direct, for experimentation, education, and introduction of the use of such products in cooperation with practical farmers, so as to obtain information as to the value, effect, and best methods of their use. F. The Board is authorized to make alterations, modifications, or improvements in existing plants and facilities, and to construct new plants. G. In the event it is not used for the fixation of nitrogen for agricultural purposes, or least, then the Board shall maintain in standby condition nitrate plant number 2, or its equivalent, for the fixation of atmospheric nitrogen, for the production of explosives in the event of war or a national emergency, until the Congress shall by joint resolution release the Board from this obligation, and if any part thereof be used by the Board for the manufacture or phosphoric acid or potash, the balance of nitrate plant number 2 shall be kept in standby condition. H. To establish, maintain, and operate laboratories and experimental plants, and to undertake experiments for the purpose of enabling the corporation to furnish nitrogen products for military purposes, and nitrogen and other fertilizer products for agricultural purposes, in the most economical manner and at the highest standard of efficiency. I. To request the assistance and advice of any officer, agent, or employee of any executive department, or of any independent office of the United States, to enable the corporation the better to carry out its powers successfully, and as far as practicable shall utilize the services of such officers, agents, and employees, and the President shall, if in his opinion, the public interest, service, or economy so require, direct that such assistance, advice, and service be rendered to the corporation. And any individual that may be by the President directed to render such assistance, advice, and service shall be thereafter subject to the orders, rules, and regulations of the Board, provided that any invention or discovery made by virtue of and incidental to such service by an employee of the government of the United States serving under this section, or by any employee of the corporation, together with any patents which may be granted thereon, shall be the sole and exclusive property of the corporation, which is hereby authorized to grant licenses thereunder, as shall be authorized by the Board, provided further, that the Board may pay to such inventor such sum from the income from sale of licenses, as it may deem proper. J. Upon the requisition of the Secretary of War, or the Secretary of the Navy, to manufacture for and sell at cost to the United States explosives, or their nitrogenous content. K. Upon the requisition of the Secretary of War, the corporation shall allot and deliver without charge to the War Department so much power as shall be necessary in the judgment of said department for use in operation of all locks, lifts, or other facilities in aid of navigation. L. To produce, distribute, and sell electric power, as herein particularly specified. M. No products of the corporation shall be sold for use outside of the United States, its territories and possessions, except to the United States government, for the use of its Army and Navy, or to its allies in case of war. And the President is authorized, within 12 months, after the passage of this act, to lease to any responsible farm organization, or to any corporation organized by it Nitrate Plant No. 2 and Waco Quarry, together with the railroad connecting said quarry with Nitrate Plant No. 2, for a term not exceeding 50 years at a rental of not less than $1 per year. But such authority shall be subject to the express condition that the lessee shall use said property during the term of said lease exclusively for the manufacture of fertilizer and fertilizer ingredients, to be used only in the manufacture of fertilizer by said lessee, and sold for use as fertilizer. The said lessee shall covenant to keep said property in first-class condition, but the lessee shall be authorized to modernize said plant No. 2 by the installation of such machinery as may be necessary, and is authorized to amortize the cost of said machinery and improvements over the term of said lease, or any part thereof. Said lease shall also provide that the board shall sell to the lessee power for the operation of said plant at the same schedule of prices that it charges all other customers for power of the same class and quantity. Said lease shall also provide that if the said lessee does not desire to buy power of the publicly owned plant, it shall have the right to purchase power for the operation of said plant of the Alabama Power Company, or any other publicly or privately owned corporation engaged in the generation and sale of electrical power. And in such case the lease shall provide further that the said lessee shall have a free right of way to build a transmission line over government property to said plant, paying the actual expenses and damages, if any, incurred by the corporation on account of such line. Said lease shall also provide that the said lessee shall covenant that during the term of said lease the said lessee shall not enter into any illegal monopoly, combination, or trust with any privately owned corporation engaged in the manufacture, production, and sale of fertilizer with the object or effect of increasing the price of fertilizer to the farmer. Section 6. In the appointment of officials and the selection of employees for said corporation, and in the promotion of any such employees or officials, no political test or qualification shall be permitted or given consideration, but all such appointments and promotions shall be given and made on the basis of merit and efficiency. Any member of said board who is found by the President of the United States to be guilty of a violation of this section shall be removed from office by the President of the United States, and any appointee of said board who is found by the board to be guilty of a violation of this section shall be removed from office by said board. Section 7. In order to enable the corporation to exercise the powers and duties vested in it by this act, a. The exclusive use, possession, and control of the United States nitrate plants numbered 1 and 2, including steam plants, located, respectively, at Sheffield, Alabama, and Muscle Shoals, Alabama, together with all real estate and buildings connected therewith, all tools and machinery, equipment, accessories, and materials belonging thereto, and all laboratories and plants used as auxiliaries thereto, the Fixed Nitrogen Research Laboratory, the Waco Limestone Quarry, in Alabama, and Dam No. 2, located at Muscle Shoals, its powerhouse, and all hydroelectric and operating appurtenances, except the locks, and all machinery, lands, and buildings in connection therewith, and all appurtenances thereof, and all other property to be acquired by the corporation, in its own name, or in the name of the United States of America, are hereby entrusted to the corporation, for the purposes of the act,